Evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Double D's live podcast here at Equitas with myself and Muireann. I'll fill you in when Mur gets here, but it's definitely have a drink. Mur, I sent you an invite. Hopefully, it comes through handy enough. We have quite the lineup of topics to discuss this evening. We did put a call out to hear about your fall stories. Now, this was on the back of, I'm not even sure how we got into it last week, but anyway, we started sharing some of our falls and what led us to them and where we went from there. And it has sparked conversations. So we have permission to share some of those stories here this evening. So I am very happy to get into that. We'll probably do it sooner rather than later, to be honest. Sorry, more have accepted, but it's still not letting. Let's try again. Saying you declined, Mar. You're not feeling it tonight? Do you want to try once more, and then if not, I can try reissue the invite? Hopefully. Yeah.
I just didn't feel like it. That was...
I was like, yeah, I can kind of understand. I mean, I'm not going to blame you. There's no
I was giggling too hard at fall stories. It was like, nah, this is right crack.
I should have. What I should have done was not shown you the stories and then got you to guess.
That would have been brilliant, to be fair, because some of these are
you couldn't write them. You literally couldn't write them.
No, some of them are brilliant. Did you say you don't have a drink?
If ever there was a night where I wanted to drink, tonight was the night. I'm drinking a pink gin. What are you having there, Mar? Oh, you're having a Corona.
Nice. Corona tonight. Like a little beer tonight. Wouldn't be like
do you have that like pre-chilled, or did you bung it in the freezer an hour before?
Oh, it was in the fridge since last week.
Oh,
I know.
Well stashed. Nice.
Now, I didn't have lime. I know, hashtag notions and all that carry on, but I do like a little bit of lime in it. Oh,
I have lime.
I love it. Love it. I love it.
For that, if you will. Judge me for that, if you will. No, seriously, more like I thought I was actually going to have to text you and say, I can't do it. In a nutshell, in the last half an hour, like seriously, like everything's fine, but in the last half an hour, I had to ring, is it the Poison Control Centre? And I also ended up with shit on my head. I'm not even kidding. Like, neither is an exaggeration. So Brie ended up, I gave her Nurofen, my mom gave her Nurofen, and I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Rang them, they said she was absolutely fine. It was in the 24-hour period. The weight that she was, everything was fine, and she is fine. But I was like, I have to do something. I can't just... And it's so easy how it happens, you know? And then Paige went to bed, and I knew she was lining up for a poop for the last couple of hours, and I knew it was coming. She didn't make it to the bathroom. Sorry, she made it to the bathroom, didn't make it to the toilet. So I was like, right, okay, no worries. Change it, back to bed. Away you go. 10 minutes later, same thing again. I'm not even kidding her. I'm there cleaning it up, right? I'm there cleaning it, and the next thing she's there rubbing my hair, and I'm like, what? What? I mean, what are you doing? And she has it on her hand, and she's rubbing my hair. I'm not even kidding. I was like, and then I came, and I really hoped that my phone, like, you literally couldn't write this. I'm not exaggerating, like, not word of a lie, but you literally, I hope that my charge on my phone works. I looked at my phone, and it was like 20%, and I was like, it's going to take at least 40% to this live stream. I was like, this is hard. Do you know what I mean? I hope I have it plugged in. I hope it lasts.
Yeah.
Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it.
Into you there, Sarah.
I say seriously, like, and I mean, I know you shouldn't say motherhood needs a drink, but tonight, mother of God, I do.
Oh, look, every now now and again, we all need just a little bit of something. Just a
And
chat.
just to clarify, John's away.
Mm.
Now, that's why Mom's over giving me a hand. So
Yeah.
Mom's away.
Yeah.
So it's not like as if, he was
He put
around
you
and
in
wasn't
the
helping.
hand off, right? Oh,
And in fairness, like, I'm trying not to give out to her. I'm trying not to show that, like, I'm
yeah.
stressed out about it. But I'm also, like, gagging because of the smell. Anyway,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when people are going to be listening to this. So let's move on swiftly. That's my little catch up. How was your week, Mar? What did you get up to?
My week was grand. I had a bit of a tummy bug, was a bit off, but it was fine. It was grand. What did we do? Rugby, basically. The men's senior team won the Southeast final in Ross on Saturday, and Fionn had his first youth rugby match. So the first match that they would have played the full pitch, and local rivals played Tullow, and I grew up in Tullow. Grew up in the rugby club in Tullow. So
Was he
there's a
right?
little bit, yeah, got out of the car and the very first thing, one of the lads walked over and went, "You're some traitor." It's like, I've been here 12 years, you have to get over it now. Like, this is where I am. But it was basically rugby fueled. Now, I have to say, Tullow have an unbelievable youth system in place, and the kids were so lovely. Like, after the match, they all went over, they thanked the ref, they thanked the coaches, they took off their boots going into the clubhouse. So what we do is, I don't know if it's the same in every club, but all of the parents bring in food. So after the match, all the kids get to go into the clubhouse, and there's sandwiches and crisps and chocolate, and I was laughing. I was like, maybe we should bring some oranges next time. This looks quite sugar fueled.
Maybe some fruit should feature at some point.
You know? But the kids couldn't have been nicer. They were so lovely. So basically, my weekend was rugby, pretty much. There's a shocker, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's good though, and I like to see that kind of like, well, one, the social aspect of those team sports, and then two, the the camaraderie of getting to,
Wow.
well, not necessarily the camaraderie with the manners, probably around
Do you know
shaking
what?
hands
I
and taking
know
off your boots. And I'd never
people,
heard of taking off your boots before you walk into the clubhouse. That's a good one.
it ruins the floors. It
Of course it would. It makes so
genuinely,
much
and
sense, but I've never heard of it.
there is muck everywhere. So we have like a little hallway on the way in, so you can walk in, take off your boots, leave them at the side, and then go on in. Now, most of them will bring socks and sliders. Seems to be a thing at the minute. That's the cool way to go. You don't put your runners on, you put your socks and sliders.
We would have been killed for that back in our day.
Exactly. Could you imagine slagging socks and sandals but socks and sliders are the way to go now. That's what all the cool kids are doing, Sarah. Maybe you could do that on Envious. You could do like a socks and sliders. This
No.
is how to start them.
No. Just no.
No, take it back.
There's stuff that we think that we can go rogue with and envious, but that's not going to be one of them.
No,
All for
I couldn't
everyone's unique
imagine.
style, but yeah, no, can't.
The sparkly jumpsuit today, pair of socks and sliders, couldn't really see that
I
being a
know,
thing.
and as versatile as that jumpsuit actually, or as that two-piece suit actually is, it's not that versatile.
Oh, I love it. What do you want to? Oh no, we have a couple of things to chat about before the funny fall stories.
Yeah, so one of the things actually, because one of the questions that we keep getting asked, which we've kind of been avoiding, is where the Double D's name for the podcast comes from. And it's not what people think. It's to do with our nicknames. So my nickname from when I was, well, I don't know how old I was, but my granddad put the nickname on. So our family is massive into nicknames. I don't know if everyone's is the same, but literally my granddad had a nickname on everybody. And as a result, my dad tends to have a nickname on everybody. Now, some people don't know they have a nickname, but they have it. But yeah, so you kind of it's almost like a rite of passage. You know what I mean? Like you get a nickname. So my nickname from my granddad was Dovey. So there's Mighty, and I have it tattooed on my hip, which I don't know, like probably nobody knows about that. But then you spoke about your nickname, which is
Ducky. So from when myself and Park started going out, and quite quickly after we started going out, he, for some unknown reason, I don't know why, started calling me Duck and Ducky. And like we'll be out in public and he'll let a roar and I can see people kind of going, what? And it makes me really giggle because we have, I don't know where she's gone here now, we have a fat little Jack Russell. And like second child. She is literally my second child. She is beautiful, but her name is Pigeon. So if we're out in public, Park shouts, duck, a pigeon.
that is
Yeah.
just too cute. That is really, really
Right.
cute. I
I
love it.
wish
And I love a good nickname. And I know they're not for everybody.
no.
Like John would be a bit funny about nicknames. You know what I mean? Like he likes to be called by his name, you know? And like I get it. I get it too. But at the same time, I just think they're nice. They're a nice bit of affection. But we happened to come across it. Like we were just chatting and you didn't realize
Yeah.
I had a nickname. I didn't realize you had a nickname. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they were quite similar. And
So
I
that's
just thought
where
it was
came from.
funny. But like
Well,
my granddad, like, so there was myself, my brother, and my cousin
mm,
that were very close in age. And so my cousin was, funny that you should mention it, with Pidge. I
really?
My brother was Buster. Yeah. My brother was Buster and I was Dovey. So we used to, my granddad every Thursday, and again, this
Mm.
is actually really cute because it's a tradition that my dad has actually carried on. So my granddad used to bring us every Thursday out to either one of the play centres or to
Deadly.
cinema, or he used to do something with us every Thursday. And then my dad does that with my girls on
Oh, I
Thursday, which is like super,
love
super cute.
that.
But he used to, if he drop us into like the big adventure centre, he'd
Yeah.
get them to call out for us over the loudspeaker, can Dovey, Buster, and Paige come down? And that's like we'd come running, you know
I
what I
would
mean? Or
go.
he'd just go in. He'd actually just go in sometimes and just let a whistle. And we had an Elibert whistle. And so we just come to the whistle. And I said it to John actually recently. I said, you know what, we should develop like a McDermott whistle, because it's great actually
100%.
to know like if you're lost in a crowd and you hear the
Yeah.
whistle, like you know, it's actually a really good kind
Love
of
that.
tool to have. But yeah, but anyway, that's where the double D's came
Yeah.
from. And it just seemed very kind of us, I
It was
suppose.
exactly. Well, if you go into the rugby club in Carlow, not so much now, but say, oh, probably when I started going out with Park, so 12, nearly 13 years ago, if you went into the rugby club and you asked the lads for Park Brennan, they'd all look at you like you had 10 heads. Who is Park Brennan?
No
But if
way.
you went in and said, is Bonzo here? They all
Is
knew who
who?
Bonzo. Park's nickname is Bonzo. And for anybody that doesn't know my Park, like he's built like a rugby player, like he's a big strong man, and his nickname is Bonzo. Now you're only allowed call him Bonzo. He's quite specific. You're only allowed call him Bonzo if you played rugby with him, or if you were involved, like if he coached you or he was part of the rugby club. So like sometimes the young fellas come in, and because he's known as Bonzo, they say, "Well, Bonzo, how's it going? And did you play
You'd be taken
rugby with
aback.
me?" Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well then call me Pork. But like, Pork, don't be mean to people.
But
He's very
isn't that funny
specific.
though? Like I think a nickname is, I don't think everybody can say it or can use it. But have
No,
you ever come across somebody who you actually don't know their real name? there's there's a thing out here, and I
yeah,
don't know whether it's just kind of this local area, but like if, for example, and it's with the young fellas, like, do
okay,
you know what I mean? But if, for example, your dad's name was Peter,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Well, then you could be called Peter,
yeah.
but your name
But your
could be
name's not really
Liam.
Peter. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I was like, what?
yeah,
Nickname? I was like, what's wrong with people? I was like, it's not a nickname, nor is it
yeah.
their actual
But it's
name.
definitely it's an Irish thing. I don't know. I don't because people find my name really hard to pronounce. I never mind being called a nickname or a shortened name. But for some reason, and I'd love to know, I'm going to ask a psychologist someday. I really dislike being called love. If somebody says to me, like,
Oh,
well,
I'm
like somebody
so
I don't
guilty of
know,
that.
No, but somebody I don't know. I don't mind if
Okay.
it's somebody that I know and that knows me, and like it's a term of affection. But like,
Yeah.
do you know, if you're in like a pub or something and well love, and I'm
Yeah.
going, mm,
Yeah.
I don't, whatever it is, and I'm not just saying that because we're on a live stream. I genuinely don't mind somebody that knows
Yeah.
me calling me love, but it's
Yes.
I don't
I
know
suppose
what
it's
it
like
is.
somebody coming up and calling you a hun, and you're
Yeah,
like, not
exactly.
really your hun, you know. Horse knowing is in here going, met one the other day, a fella called Spuddy. He's a grown man now. A grown man with Spuddy is his name. Like, I don't know why Spud might be better, but Spuddy just sounds a bit.
It makes me think of like, I don't know what, there's such connotations there.
But
So, Jesus,
isn't
Spuddy.
that so funny? But I just laugh. I think nicknames I love them
Yeah.
personally, and I think they can tell a story, and they're fun. I love what's behind them, but I get that they're not for everybody, and there's people that
Well,
are earn the right to say your nickname.
exactly.
You
Well,
also have the
because
right to say
Paul
that.
was known obviously as Bonzo, Fionn is now nearly guilty by association. So his nickname in the rugby club is now Baby Bonzo. And he
Oh
grows about 4 foot when somebody calls him Baby Bonzo. And he
my
struts
God,
across
Mara, that is
the
the
like,
cutest thing.
yeah.
That is the cutest thing. That's far cuter
He
than just Bonzo.
I love it. Like I actually love it. I'm like, oh, look at him over there.
It was along those lines. So, like, my brother was a year and a half older than me, and we went to the same, well, primary school,
Yeah.
and he was called Ellie. And then all of a sudden, then I was little Ellie. Do you know what I mean? I like lived in the shadow for a few years. I was like little Ellie. It was better than Smelly Ellie, which is what we were
Well,
probably called at some point.
you could have done a lot worse there, Meredith's like,
Laura is insane. She was given the nickname Bundy as a kid. There's a few people that I know that are called
yeah,
Bundy.
what
What's that
though?
about?
Laura Forrest. Why Bundy? Where did it come from? It always intrigues me. Like, so mom has a habit at home, and there's four of us at home, right? And I'm the youngest, but I have two older brothers and an older sister. And mom has an awful habit of calling myself and my older sister Susie. Neither of us are Susie. Like, I don't know where Susie came from. Where like it just appeared one day, and I said to her like, "Mom, Susie, I don't know. It just comes out."
There's an elderly man that works in the shop here where I'm from and or where I'm living, and he used to call everybody Alana. All the
Allah,
girls he used to Alana. Yeah, he used to say like, "Hello, Alana, hello," Alana. And like obviously I was from Dublin, so I used to like nip in before I was going to school or whatever. And I was like, he was like, "Oh, let this girl go. She's going to Dublin." Like the kindest man. And then he'd
oh,
say like he'd be calling me Alana, and I'd be like, "Do I correct him? Like that's not my name." And then I was like, "No, I'll leave him alone." And then I realized he actually called everybody.
Alana. Do you think it was like Alana, is in like isn't there in Irish like Alana
Yeah,
McCrean? And do you
yeah,
think
exactly. Yeah.
like it was that
Yeah,
term
it's just
in the
going back to kind of folklore kind of ways, like, do you know what I mean? But sure, I hadn't a notion, I hadn't a clue at all. I was just going, he has my name wrong. He thinks he knows me, he doesn't know me.
You calling me Alana? Like, well, like Alana, to be
I was
fair.
just going to say, it could be called a hell of a lot worse. Um, but the other thing, oh, so what I wanted to ask was then was I have mine tattooed on me, my nickname.
Mhm.
Have you got any tattoos? And I know you have one. I know you
I
have
do.
one.
I only have one.
Do you?
No, I do have another one booked in. Yeah, yeah, I have another one booked in for next week. My issue with tattoos was I knew when I got one, that was it. I was going to end up
Really?
with many tattoos. I have a really addictive personality. I, if I like something, I go, as you know, Sarah, whole head first, straight in, dive on in there. So I knew when I got one, I really I really didn't want to end up getting something that just for the sake of getting a tattoo. So basically, I have the Equitas logo tattooed on my leg with all my horses' names around it. And I love it. I absolutely, like, I just love it. It's one of my favorite things in the world. But I have, and I keep it a little secret for a while. Maybe I'll show you. But I have another one booked in for next week, and it's something that it means an awful lot to me. I'll put it that way. It's something that is very close to my heart. And
the Carlo Rugby crest.
across here, above my neck. I am president, you know.
So I love that actually. Like tattoos, I think again, they're such a personal thing, but I know
Yeah,
some people are like dead against them, and that's absolutely fine. But like for me, it
100%.
was important. I wanted something that obviously had meaning, and it was nothing more
Yeah,
meaningful than my own nickname.
yeah.
And it's in a place that I can easily hide, and no one has to know that it's there. And
Well,
I,
that was exactly
choose to
it.
tell somebody.
I
But I
love
did
the
want,
fact.
I came across, oh, I don't know. It was on a kind of, I got it in America. It was like a fridge magnet or something, but it was like on a Western themed like vibe. Can't even
Yeah.
describe it. The picture of it was like really, really pretty, whatever. And it gave me the idea of getting, and this phrase on it was, let your dreams run wild, be brave enough to follow. And I wanted to get it like on my wrist on one side, like let your dreams run wild, and then on the other side, be brave enough
Yeah.
to follow. And I wanted to get it with the horse's hooves in sand. Just the outline, the shape of them, really, really kind of like that somebody wouldn't necessarily know what that was, but I would. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like
And
that.
I went and I got it looked at, and they wouldn't do it for me. Wouldn't
Why?
do it for me. They just said that. Oh, they obviously would have done the writing, but for me,
Yeah.
it was like the whole thing that I kind of wanted to recreate.
Yeah.
And they basically said that because of what I wanted, it wouldn't have come through clear enough. It was a
Okay.
little bit too delicate, probably a little bit too subtle,
Well,
maybe is the kind of the phrase. So I wonder if I looked into it again now to see, because I still like, I keep going back to it and I still love that phrase, and I
yeah.
still kind of, would like to see it. But yeah, I'd love to hear if anyone has any kind of different. My dad actually got a new tattoo recently. He came back from Portugal with a new tattoo.
Your dad has a lovely
He is
tattoo.
big into,
Mm.
yeah, he's big into Indians. He loves
Mm.
that kind of like reading about them and going back. And he got an Indian on his leg. He got an Indian on his arm a while
Mm.
ago, and then like years and years ago, and then he got an Indian on his leg there a few years ago, and he actually got the Indian was on a horse with its arms up to the sky, like, do you know what I mean,
Wow.
kind of like looking up or whatever, like really, really nice photo. But the horse that he got replicated was our Madison. So he got her markings on her and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean? So it was like, again, it kind of means something. And like we have Maddie, she was a foal, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
means a hell of a lot. And then he got the other one then on the other leg, and it's a slightly different kind of a vibe to it. But again, the horse is just,
Yeah. You
it's
see,
just fab. It's
like,
really, really fab.
I love that. So a friend of mine years and years ago, she went through a really tough time, right? And now she has lots of tattoos, and I love talking to her about them because every one of them has their own story and they've all come from different places. So she was having a really tough time in Ireland. She decided she was going to go over to America for a couple of months and give herself a bit of a break and stay with some friends over there. So she came back, and on her wrist here, she had WJD. It's like, what is the crack? Like, you may explain this one to me. I don't understand. No, WWJD. That's what she had. And it doesn't make it any clearer, in fairness. What would Jesus do? And she said every time, yeah, she said every time she was getting herself into a bit of a hairy, like, maybe I shouldn't be here moment, she'd look at her wrist and go, okay, I'm going home.
Oh,
She'd leave. It's like,
that is, I mean, whatever works.
whatever.
Whatever works. Yeah.
Whatever. And like, she's not religious. She's not, but she was like, I just needed something, like a little reminder. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus. And now, curiosity, how long do you have your tattoo?
Oh, I want to say it was 2009 when I got mine. I got it when I went to Miami. I think that was 2009. What year are we in? That's 15 years ago now. Jesus. Yeah.
And did you tell your parents when you got it?
Oh yeah. Oh, like I told my parents everything. Yeah, like my parents brought me. So when we were in LA, my parents brought me to get my belly button pierced when I was 13.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, like my parents were
Love it.
pretty cool like
Yeah.
that, and like yeah, so much so I never really rebelled or anything
But,
in this regards to like tattoo or piercings. Like, I mean, I had plenty of friends that did, but I mean,
yeah.
I was never one of them. No, I think what was I 22 maybe when I got it done?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, like, I only have
I've
mine.
been talking about it for ages.
Was it the Christmas before last I got mine? And I don't think I told Mum for about 6 months. I told Dad I was going in to get it all right, but I didn't tell Mum because she really dislikes tattoos. So in my
Yeah.
head, I was being respectful, and I was that rebellious. Like I had all the piercings and all of the
Yeah,
jazz.
yeah.
Like
I
all
love
like ridiculous. I was all even I was laughing when the photos went up of yourself and Nicola today on the envious story. I was like I was actually going to reply. There is the most hilarious. Now I thought I was the coolest, like uber cool, right? I, I had bright blue hair, but dyed at home myself. Oh yeah, all like my hair was every color under the sun. So my hair was bright blue. I had both my eyebrows pierced, right? Because I was really both of them. Because I was, I was symmetrical. I had the symmetrical look, right? And all like the piercings and the whole lot. And I had this crisp white shirt, but it had obviously rained. So the blue dye was
Oh,
dyed.
Mar. Oh, I can't go. Had drip down all over your shirt.
It was
And someone took a
horrendous.
photo.
Oh yeah, well, so the girls took it. Like, sure, how would I would take it? In fairness, like it was. But I actually I remember that night, and I thought I was just the coolest. Like
Oh God, that is
hindsight 2020
stupid.
vision and all that carry on.
But
I can't even dye
I
my hair.
laughed. I laughed because Nicola texted me and she was like, "Look at the story I'm after putting up," and I was like, "What are you after doing?" Because she never texts me that. Like, and I was like, "What are you after?" And I looked, and I was like, "Oh my God, stop!" But they're so funny. Like Jesus, man, like they're going back. Like they're going way back. I'd say.
In them.
Oh God, one of them was slain. One of them was slain 2011. I know that much. But then, like with that and Nicola are friends like good 20
Yeah,
years. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, and I was like, geez, like I'm surprised she even has those on her phone. But anyway, yeah, she.
She was
It's they're great to look
holding them
back at.
there,
They're great to look
staring at. They
back
were
at.
going to come in
I just
handy
keep
for
looking,
comfort.
going, Jesus, look at my hair. My hair look great.
Gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous, in fairness. I love it. What? Come here, you. I was only talking about you. Come up here.
Hello, pigeon.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. She hates being picked up. Don't want to stay there. I was going to show you my dog, but she hates being picked up. So,
No, no, we'd have to. Right, Margot, we get on to some of these fall stories because I feel like, oh, hello, darling. Oh my word, she's settling down for a snooze, isn't she?
oh, out and out. There's a big long backstory to her. She came out of the pound in Kilkenny and had a horrific start in life. And when we got her first, it took her 2 years to come in our back door.
Oh, really?
Two
Jesus.
solid years. Now she sleeps in the bed with us, of course. But anyway, she landed on her feet, shall we say. But yes, let's get into some of these stories. Do you want to read them out one by one? Do you want to do the
Yeah,
first one and I'll do the next one?
yeah, exactly. We read them out. We have full permission from
Mhm.
members of the Equitas community to read these out before we go landing anybody in it. The first one in is from Heather, and she said, "When I was about 15, I thought I was the best rider ever." That's in caps lock. So good that I could ride my horse lady backwards. So I spin around, give her a kick, and she promptly books me off into a ditch, gallops home, which is probably the best bit for me, and I have to walk back, cover the mud. And the last line, I learned pride definitely comes before a fall. Like, our horse is not just the best levelers. Like, I
Oh,
mean, just when you think,
unbelievably. Yeah. And you could see it, like teenager, cool, thought to take it to and all. Like, I love that one. The next one that has come in is from Helen. And I actually thought I was going to vomit with this one this morning. I laughed so hard, lads. I was leading up a horse at a point to point years ago, and he kind of, compose myself, he kind of clipped the side of my shoe. And it came off, and I just continued on so as not to cause a scene with one shoe down to the start and all. When I finally received my shoe, it was very battered and bruised back in the parade ring. Lesson learned, and I now always have spare footwear and socks with me.
like, what would you have done if you'd come across somebody walking around with one shoe? Like, it was the carry on, like, don't pause, don't get it on the way around again. And it was like just the carry on and just pick it up like later on. And in the meantime, I'm without a shoe. I just thought that was like
I
perseverance
oh,
at its finest.
oh, I just I
Perseverance at its
quite the
finest.
point as well. Like, jeez, fair play to her.
So we had another one in here from Kira. She said, I was producing a Connemara for the performance classes in Dublin one year, and after a lot of work and improvements, it was the last qualifier and probably the first time we went in with confidence that we could do it. I fell off at the first fence. My heart broke for this girl because this has happened to me. This has happened to me. My heart broke when I read that, right? But here she said, in the horse's defense, it was not an inviting setup, and at the last minute, he decided to have another look at what was behind the fence, and it was one of those quick, hard bounce stops. She said, I landed on my feet, furious with myself, but that was the end of the RDS streams for that year, and I definitely had a red face when I had to tell the owner. But you know what popped into my head when I read that, right, was, and I know exactly what she's talking about when she said like the hard bounce stops, like because
Yeah.
I I used to ride a wee 13-2 Palomino pony for a fella that was in our yard. He had two daughters and he had a couple of show ponies or show jumping ponies for them, but they were probably a little bit over horse, to be honest.
Okay.
And I was that little bit older. So he asked me to take this particular one out and give her a few spins, SGI or whatever. So I was doing that, and she was an absolute crazy pony, as in like go, 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 go. Not a whole lot of sense, but great jumper, and she was a mare. I seemed to get on with her, right?
Yeah.
But the next thing, she was one of these ones that if you went clear on the first round, you
Yeah.
could go clear all day. If you had a fence in the first round,
Oh.
go up and go home. You're going to have rails all day,
Yeah.
right? So, but I went in and I remember my mom was with me and the owner was with me, obviously. And the next thing I went in and I was coming around it was planks. I remember it so well because obviously I'm not cautious of planks, but I respect
Yeah.
planks. But it came around to planks and there was obviously some sort of pattern, and she just at the last second just literally stuck it to the ground and like gave that double kind of like stop and then a little stride but another stop,
Yeah.
and I came off that quick, Mer. My mom said, she described it back to me, she said your legs were exactly the same position in the saddle as they were through the air. There was like you literally just stayed in position, but you just moved from saddle to ground. And I can just imagine this girl, and I mean the first
Yeah.
fence of the last qualifier. I mean,
And the worst that goes in. Oh,
and then she
Jesus.
lands on her feet. Like she probably could have just hopped back up and kept going, but obviously rules
Yeah.
don't permit you to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway,
Jesus.
sorry to digress. Go on ahead with the
Not
next
at all.
one.
The next one is from Laura. The night before my 16th birthday, I was jumping like a small league that they had in my local stables. I had a bad rotational fall and broke my collarbone, which I didn't know at the time. And I'm stubborn, Laura, and the stubborn fuck I was adamant about carrying on and trying to get back in the saddle, and almost had to be rugby tackled to the office to get checked over. I had a birthday sleepover that night and I refused to cancel. My mother thought if she refused me pain relief, I'd cancel and go to the hospital. But to no avail. After dropping all my friends back to the stable the next day, we went to the hospital to see that my collarbone was in pieces, and the doctor had no idea how could I have bared the pain that long.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like, I hope it was a great party, Laura. I really hope it was a great party. Pain relief or no pain relief. I mean, I actually like like Laura's mother's way of thinking. I don't know if I would have thought of that.
I don't think I would have, or I definitely would have given him. It would have been like, "Oh, here, take something." Like, fair play to
But
her.
like, thankfully, touch wood, I've never broken my collarbone, but like, it's supposed to be incredibly,
Oh,
incredibly
so
sore.
sore. It's so sore. I don't know. Oh no, you can't really. Oh, there's Laura now. I can't remember it. My mother's a nurse.
Well, maybe it's a good thing you don't remember it, and the fact that your mother's a nurse. Well, that does explain a few things.
It's brilliant, Laura. Talk about dropping in a one-liner there, Laura. I love
Oh
it.
my God, absolutely brilliant. We have another here from Lorna. She said last year at the NIF where I fell off and landed facing with my back to the horse, sitting in a water trough. And in brackets, she has the fence was a big back wooden trough with a blue insert filled with water. So like, yeah, scary enough. It was also filled with rubber ducks. And so I'm sat there, wet art, with the rubber ducks up my bum, unable to wriggle out as my air jacket had gone off. And I'm now as wide as I am high. She says I have asthma and I couldn't get my jacket off, as in my wisdom I tied the string of my number around it. And then she said in brackets, don't do that. The judge just started running over and I'm like, I'm grand. Turns out the jacket going off had made the horse jump back and his bridle came off. So while I'm splashing around, he's standing there with just a saddle on behind her. Oh my God. Like, there's just like one calamity after another. Like, that is like the water in the trough, add in the rubber ducks, add in the fact that she fell, add in the air vest, the asthma. She couldn't get the jacket off. The horse's bridle's gone. Like, I mean, he just, yeah, calamity after calamity.
Rubber ducks that got me. I just
Rubber
envisioned.
ducks, I mean, Jesus. And like, I have the thing with my horses, like when they spook, I'm like, if it's not moving, you know, kind of carry on. Like, you know, we'll work around it. We don't pay it too much attention. But if it's moving, stop, have a look, have a nosy at it, and then we carry on. You know what I mean? Like a rubber duck floating around in a bath, like I'd have to stop and let them have a look. Going by my rules.
I am going to tell you, this is, now I didn't actually fall in this, but I think this is one of my most embarrassing horsey stories, right? I hadn't been in Harrington's I used to work in Jessica Harrington's when I was much younger and fitter. And I hadn't been in Harrington's very long. I'd come in, never ridden a thoroughbred before, had no clue what I was doing. Like, not a dicky bird. The lads were teaching me. I was learning kind of on the job, right? So it came to Cheltenham preview time. And all these reporters arrived. And there was cameras everywhere. There was mics everywhere. And I was when I think about it now, the embarrassment, like I can actually feel myself going right. So I was trying this real, like, old school national hunter, been everywhere, done everything, but I didn't realise that he was going to Cheltenham. So they were obviously wanting some footage of this horse. But there was a fella, now I'm sure it's all much, much different in Harrington's now, but at the time there was no railings on the round gallop, and sheep used to graze on the inside. This is an important part of the story, right? So,
this is where you add in the what happened next.
Here's the man standing in the ditch with, you know, those big, like fluffy booms that they record. So my horse spooked, jumped off the gallops, jumped a sheep lying on the ground, went straight down the gallops. I was like, shit. I thought nobody had noticed, so I stayed going, joined back into the lot at the other side of the gallops. Went, oh, no, I'm fine. It's all grand. Sarah, I turned on at the races when I went home that evening.
Yeah.
At the races, only Jessica Harrington's new schooling regime, and I was jumping a sheep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
I
God.
can actually feel myself going right. Now, in fairness to Mrs. Harrington,
I'd be embarrassed with that. I'd be like, yeah, that was me.
I get it. I was. Mrs. Harrington was brilliant. She called me in the next morning, and I was like, "Oh, she's gonna fire me! Like she's just gonna fire me. Yeah. This is it." She was so funny, Sarah. She's like, well, considering you don't school very often, your technique was great.
There you go. You joined back in. It's all about how you handle these things, isn't it, Mark? All about how you handle these things. We'll finish up the stories with one from Jane. Now, this is a funny one. Like, the first time I ever fell off was learning to ride in Germany. Aged about 9. The pony was stuck in the corner of the arena. I thought that was funny in itself. I didn't know how to move him. The instructor kicked the pony up the backside and it went flying off in one direction, with me going in the opposite direction and my helmet going off in a third direction. I just thought that was just absolutely hilarious. I just, like, so old school. Like, so old school. But
I couldn't picture it. Stubborn little riding school pony stuck in the corner. I'm done.
All of a sudden got lit and, you know, decided to show people what was what. Yeah, exactly. But Jane also comes in, and Jane,
Yeah,
bearing in mind, is she's a mindset coach, and I
yeah,
just want to finish off with this because it's actually
yeah,
really good, and we can laugh and joke
yeah,
about it and everything.
yeah.
But
But this
she
is a
did say,
very valid point, though. Yeah.
yeah, I'm loving these stories because obviously this was into a group
Mhm.
earlier on, and she said, but I have to say, as a mindset coach, my advice to riders is not to repeat accounts of falls and accidents, as the effect is to embed the memory more deeply in the mind. However, it sounds like people here aren't too traumatized by their experiences. And I absolutely love that because she's so,
Yeah.
so incredibly right. And it's really, really important that if a fall, and I know we're laughing about them now, but I mean, they can be really serious. They can be really, really traumatic. Even
Oh,
sometimes, even if you
100%.
don't actually fall, sometimes it's not the fall that's actually the traumatic bit. It's actually sometimes like the
Yeah,
fear of it. So just, yeah, if you're struggling with that, it's okay to struggle with it. We've all been there. We
100%.
have
Yeah.
probably had, and we're probably speaking about the falls that aren't
Mhm.
so traumatic for us, and that we can
Oh,
kind of find a bit of humor in them.
100%. Yeah.
Um, and probably at a time when we probably bounced a little bit easier. I mean, I remember it was probably maybe 5 years ago. I had this horse in for training, and I was in the national sports arena, and my mom was with me, and I had him in for school, and he was a really, really nice horse, really nice jumper and everything, and he just put down in front of the fence. I don't know why. He just did. Caught me
Yeah.
off guard. I hit the ground. He kind of jumped away. Sorry, I didn't hit the ground straight away. He jumped away to the side, and that's when I kind of hit the ground. And when I tell you, I was shook,
Yeah.
absolutely shook.
Yeah.
Whatever way I hit hard, and I was like, huh, winded. I was like, Mom was
Yeah.
like, are you okay? I'm like, get the horse. Get the
Just like,
horse.
yeah. But isn't
So
that
I was
what
like,
we
it
talk
was
about,
winded.
man?
I'm like, it just shook every bone in my
Oh,
body, I'd say.
oh,
But you know, the interesting thing is, Mar, like, touch wood now, I've never had, like, any of my major injuries with horses
yeah.
have never been from a fall. They've been from handling them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been from like getting a kick or
Yeah.
getting, almost getting squashed or what was the other one that I
Very
had? Oh, I
interesting
broke
because
my
I'm nearly
finger.
the reverse of that. Like
Really?
I've been very lucky on the ground, and again, touch wood, the majority of my injuries have come from falls rather than being on the ground. It's nearly
That's
the
mad,
complete
isn't it?
reverse. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
in saying that
broken
now, the
rounds.
ones that I've gotten injured from, I never owned them. They were never mine.
Really?
Never, not one. Now,
That's
oh,
something,
sorry,
Sarah.
that's a complete lie. Zara kicked me in the leg one time, and I have a dent in my leg from where the muscle has like, not
To get
completely
it back
recovering.
in there.
But that is the only time, like, that's, and again, it was my own
God.
fault. She was Zara's one of these ones that when she's finished cross country, you can't go near her. She's wound up, you can't touch her. Like, you've
Yeah,
got to just wait until she calms
yeah,
down. And I was getting her undressed, and I was on my own, and I was just kind of a bit
mhm,
flustered, trying to
yeah.
anxiously get her cooled off. And I was washing her down, and she just booted me. Um, but all of the other injuries, like when I've actually like had a break or anything like that, have
Or
been
yeah,
someone
like a
else's fault.
big injury. Well, I think, and not to go back over traumatic falls, but I think the fall that I probably think about the most, right? I, so obviously, Porrick's family, well, Porrick's mom is quite horsey and she breeds a good few horses. And when we moved over here first, Porrick had a horse. He had bought him before we were ever together. Huge, big 17.3, skewbald, real stereotypical male hunting horse. Bring him in,
Right.
tack him up, ride him, let him back out. Didn't do affection, he knew his job and did his job very, very well, but didn't want anything else got to do with it. So, of course, Muggins here had no horse at the time and decided that the week that we were moving into our new house, that I had taken off work, was the week that I was going to sit up on Porrick's horse, who hadn't been ridden in about a year at that stage. So I brought him out and I lunged him and he was fine. And I set up on him. We have a little grove of apple trees, and I set up on him in the grove, everything hunky dory. Brought him up the road for a little hack, grand. He said, "Do you know what would be lovely now? I'll have a little canter across the stubble field to finish off. Wouldn't that be a lovely way to finish?" So Port's dad, who bearing in mind had met me a handful of times before this, came down to open the gate. I remember going up. I don't remember coming down. Like I don't know what actually happened. I obviously met something in the middle,
Oh,
but I don't remember pushing the ground. Now, what I'm
shit.
assuming happened is he threw up his head and we met or I hit his neck or something. But I I obviously landed head first because I had stubble marks under my hat, like where I had slid along the ground. But I was very concussed, and Tommy Poir's dad at the time said I stood up, took off the hat, fucked it on the ground, walked across the field. I remember none of this. Like in my
Mad for
head,
that.
I woke up in Poir's kitchen drinking a cup of tea. Like
Stop, isn't that
that whole
crazy?
bit in the middle. But I was that stubborn, Sarah, right, that I have persuaded Park to come to IKEA with me. And Park hates IKEA, doesn't do it. It really dislikes it. So I got in the car. We went to IKEA. I got halfway around IKEA with a trolley, bent over and went, Park, there's actually something quite wrong. I really don't feel very well. So we had to abandon the cart and all in IKEA. Park reckoned it was the cheapest shopping trip he ever had in
Yeah, I
IKEA.
think there's a sin right there.
Yeah.
Sin.
Abandoned, came home. I was after, I had broken a rib and it had punctured a piece of my lung. And
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. So that now, and I know, like I very much take, and thankfully it's not something that I dwell on. Like I can laugh at the fucking irony of it all now. And like he was sold on about 2 years afterwards, and he was sold to a really good huntsman, and he still has them, and
Yeah.
he's actually lovely. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't the mouse's fault. I shouldn't have brought him out into the middle of a bloody stubble field. Like it wasn't, like he was
Oh, we
fresh
live
and he
and
went,
learn.
like, but about,
Yeah.
I'd say about 6 months before that, he had, no, it must have been a year before that, he had landed Park in hospital. Park broke his coccyx bone off.
Oh, well, if you're gonna do it, do it right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Laura has come back in. She's like, got cow kicked, lunge on a fresh horse, and have a hoof
Mm.
print in my thigh now. I feel like our hoof prints might match, Laura. I really do. Because it's definitely obvious anyway. I see if I'm wearing tights, especially black tights, like you can see, you know, the way like tights will give a bit of a sheen. Oh, you could totally see like a dent in my leg. Yeah.
You should get a
It's
tattoo around it,
yeah,
Sarah.
yeah,
Horseshoe around
Zara
it.
was here. Oh God, Zara was here. I think that's a good one. Mara, I don't know where the time has gone. We've only got a few minutes left, so I know you want to talk about clothing sizes,
It's
but
okay. We'll leave it. We can get into it another set. It was only me ranting, was all it was anyway. I was just
oh
going
well,
to.
the reason why I'm saying let's not hurry and talk about it now because I'd say I'm going to join in on that rant very gladly. But I wanted to, yeah, let's go on to our rights and wrongs of the
Yeah.
week. So you go ahead. You go ahead with yours. What's your right of the week?
My ride of the week is I got new nails today. I'm quite a simple girl,
Okay,
but I missed
mine
my
on
last.
Saturday.
Yeah, I missed my last nail appointment. Couldn't get another one for a couple of weeks. They were driving me mad. Like
Yeah.
they were so long, and I got them done today, and I was very pleased with myself, and I liked them. So that was my ride.
Oh,
My
thanks.
wrong.
And what color? What color
Oh,
did you get?
kind of like a sparkly reddy pink.
Oh, fab.
Um, yeah,
You're
yeah,
kind of
I'm really, really
holding on to
lucky.
summer with that one, aren't you?
Oh, with both hands. Like I have not let go yet. Like, I'm not ready to let go yet. I'm right there. I'm even refusing to take out the big jackets yet. I'm like, nope, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Although I did wash all my rugs the other day because we're going to be back to winter rugs in the next week.
I know, it's crazy. It's
Mm.
crazy. I'm looking at the horses and I'm like, I'm gonna have to take Zara and Zena back in and we have the
Yeah,
rugs ready to go. I have to
yeah.
collect them from the local shop and oh yeah, it's just anyway. What
Yeah.
is your wrong of the week?
My wrong of the week was during the week I was told by my also wonderful, lovely son that I was too old for Snapchat. So I now keep sending him Snapchats just to yeah, yeah, I'm too old now.
Too over Snap. But do you not know? Do you not know that like Snapchat now is like people are using it for dating? I sound
What?
so old when I say that. Yeah. So like for people like our age now, they're actually going back onto Snapchat and using it as a bit of a dating app. So
Well, now I'm not using it as a dating app, but I feel totally justified in being on Snapchat now.
yeah. Oh, I
100%.
heard it on another podcast and they were like, you know, oh, you should get on Snapchat. Like that's where like you know.
That's where the kids hang out.
Well,
Okay.
like, yeah, but I mean, like
Like,
our age, like not like, 20s or anything like that, like 30s
I
and
didn't even
late
know
30s.
like dating on Snapchat was the thing. That would
I
not have
well,
dawned on me.
I don't know. Apparently it is. Again, I'm a married woman. I'm not, but at the same time, it's
Yeah.
what I've heard. Oh yeah, you just have Fiona. No, 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 no.
No, no, no. I am in my head. I am still
And come
22
here.
and
Here's
really
a
cool.
question for you. Do you and Fiona have like a snap streak?
Oh yeah.
And like you have to like really work to keep it going. Like that would
Oh yeah.
stress me out.
Just over
Like,
a year
what if
now.
you didn't have
And like every day. And like I put way more work into it than Fiona's. Like I am not cool. Like I'm just not cool.
it?
So I think of like, funny things that I can send him where like, oh, isn't that gorgeous? And he'll send me back like his shoe or like the roof. I worked hard on that Snapchat.
I know, I know. Mine's quality content. Yeah, come on, quality content. Maybe that's why you think you're too old for it, Mar.
I'm going to start sending him pictures of the dog. I've just given up. That's it now.
Yeah. Um, so my ride of the week is a new schedule because obviously Paige is in preschool,
Hmm.
and this was the first week where it was for the 3 hours, and Mum was coming over to help me, and I had no idea what was the best kind of few hours to get her in for, how Paigey was
Yeah.
going to be. Was Paigey going to be okay with her dropping her off and picking her up or whatever?
Yeah.
So it all went really, really well, and I felt like we probably got into a nice routine.
Brilliant.
Felt like that when Paige went to school, then Bree was actually napping for a couple of hours, so I had an extra couple of hours, and it just kind of gave me a little bit of breathing
Yeah.
space. Like, I mean, and I've had to do a little bit of work on my mindset because obviously, like, I'm so busy and I'm juggling a lot
Yeah.
of different things, and it's definitely overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out how to manage that in my head without getting overwhelmed has definitely been a
Mm.
challenge. So what I've tried to do this week is to say, look, I'm going to get done what I can
Yeah.
get done rather than I have to get this done, this done, this done, this done. And it's just kind of knowing that everything is still there on the list, but that I can kind of chip away at it,
Yeah.
get through it, and just give myself a little bit of a break in that if I don't get it done
Brilliant.
today,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's not going to get done. And obviously I prioritize, but like,
Yeah.
I just thought, and it was just like a little bit of a switch that just kind of went in my head where I was like, you can only do what literally you can
Yeah.
only do. So it was definitely a help this week now, I have to say. And I think
Brilliant.
probably because John was going away, it definitely prompted me to kind of say, like, you're not going to be able to do it all.
Yeah.
You're going to have
Yeah.
to change how you're doing things.
Yeah.
And it's definitely helped.
But even
I'm
to know
just
that
trying to
that's
really kind of
okay, so
prioritize myself a little bit
yeah.
because I'm really like, I'm just kind of getting like, just busy and not taking any time for myself.
Yeah.
So it's just to try and, like, today Dad had the girls for a couple of hours and I did a couple of hours work. Well, I did an hour or so work when he was gone. Then I was like, right, okay, I have to go down to the yard and do that.
Okay.
And then I was like, right, I also have to, there was emails to send and there was other work to be done,
Yeah.
videos to edit. And I was like, right, okay. I was like, but look, I can do those when the girls are in the house. I can't
Hmm.
have a shower when the
Yeah.
girls are in the house.
Oh,
So I
did
was
you go
like,
one with
I'm
the
gonna go
shower?
for a shower. And so I was like, I came out and I was like, I had a shower in the middle of the day.
Oh,
I was like, what the hell? What the hell? What, like, when was the last time that happened where I didn't have a shower, like last thing before bed or first thing in the morning before the girls got up? I was like, in the middle of the day, I had a shower. Like, I mean,
no,
so it's just little things like that. I'm not going to say it's going to be my new daily routine,
no,
but it is
but
nice
it
to just
is,
kind of say, right, take a breath.
yeah.
You can't do it all. Here's what you can do. And just kind of focus on that. Focus on building on what you can rather
Yeah.
than focus on what you haven't been able to get done. And
Yeah.
that was kind of the thing for me. And then the wrong of the week was a little bit late to the party on this, but I only saw the latest video that has come out recently of Andrew McConnon,
Yeah.
the 5-star
Yeah.
rider, a 5-star event rider, and the video that has emerged from his groom around him hitting a horse. And it made me sick, Mer. Like, it genuinely made me
Yeah.
sick. And I'm not obviously, like, my wrong is not the release of the video. I think, to be
Yeah.
honest, our sport is in such a precarious position that we actually need people to be transparent about their training
100%.
practices,
Yeah.
and we need people to hold us all
Yeah.
accountable. And I remember last year, I think it was, Lorna actually came in and said she wanted to do a campaign that was like ride like everyone is watching.
Yes.
And I just think
Yeah.
it shouldn't. I'm so sad that it takes that mentality, like
Yeah.
ride like there's a camera on you.
Yeah.
But if that's what it takes to protect our sport, and if that's what it takes to
Exactly.
protect our horses,
Yeah.
like, it's so sad that that is what it's come to. But at the end of the day, I have to believe people aren't in the right mind when something like that is going on. They couldn't possibly be in, like, with the respect and the love that they have for the animals, to train them to the levels that they train them to. They have to love and respect them. I
Yeah.
don't doubt that, but their methods and their mindset, the pressure that they're under, maybe, all of that has to be taken into account. And I just feel like we have to be held accountable. But I think that, to simplify it, if, saying ride like everyone is watching
Yeah.
will hold people accountable,
Yeah.
then that's what we need to do.
Well, what I found the most frustrating from all of that was the kickback that the person that released that video was getting. And I can't understand that mind frame. I'm not able
No,
to understand that mind frame,
I
because
can't.
if somebody, they're not doing it for the detriment of the person. They're doing it because they want to respect our sport, and they want to respect our horses, and they want people to do right by our horses. But no wonder people are afraid to call people out,
I
because if
know.
they're going to get that much flack over it,
And that's
then,
not just in equestrianism. Like,
oh, not
that's
at
in
all.
all sport. In all,
It's
like,
in
if
every
you walk down the
sport.
street, you're not going to call somebody out for having a row because, God
No.
forbid, you'd end up on the wrong side of it. Like, it's just that victim kind of, or that victim blaming mentality. I know the victim necessarily
Yeah.
isn't that person in this case. It's more the horse. But yeah, I just think it saddens me. But I think we're probably to expect a lot more of it, and rightly so. If that's what needs to be
But
done
if
to
that's
make this
what
sport a
has to be
safer
done,
place for our horses, then yeah,
yeah,
I'm
100%.
I'm not looking forward to it. But I think if that's what has to be done, that's what has to be done. So
This is
yeah, I was definitely saddened by that, and I don't mean to end the podcast on that note. But I just think it wouldn't be right if we didn't
yeah,
acknowledge it or mention it. I was just sick. I was just absolutely sick
yeah.
about the
No,
whole thing.
it's not pleasant at
I'm
all at
sure
all.
I'm not alone. Yeah.
No, not at all. But I think the more open and the more transparent and the more conversations
Yeah.
we have about it, then the better it has to be. And like, if we at Equitas as a media company can't have open, transparent conversations about it, what hope does
Yeah.
anybody else have? So we have to talk about it.
Exactly. We should probably, in that, no, we should probably get something up on the website about it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I've been kind of a little bit MIA in that regard this week, but yeah, look, I think talking about it and just, I suppose, letting people know that it's not going to be tolerated anymore, and our horses mean more to us than that, and
100%.
they deserve more than that.
Yeah.
That we're all in the same boat, and
Yeah.
try and take the judgment out of it, and just make sure going forward that we're just all better. Like, I mean, none of us are angels. I'm sure we've all done things we're not proud of, but just let's.
But we're all just trying to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But look, I look forward to next week when we talk about clothing sizes, and I can't remember what else we have. I do want to actually bring up with you next week maybe not next week, we'll see, but what podcast you listen to. What?
Oh, good call.
Yeah, I'm loving the podcast, or like audiobooks. I do like reading again
Yeah.
now that I have a bit of time, but I'm forcing myself to read at nighttime
Yeah.
rather than listen to something.
Then
So,
listen to, yeah.
but yeah, I just love a good podcast, and I want to know why you listen to
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah, that is a good call. I think
Yeah.
I might surprise you with my type of podcast. It's a bit bizarre, and I am a sucker for a good audiobook. I love mucking out listening to a good book, I
I
have to say.
know,
We
I
should chat.
know.
Yeah.
We will, absolutely. Look, everybody, thank you so much for the correspondence with regards to your falls. If you have any good podcasts, actually, now we're on the topic. If you
Yeah.
have any good podcasts, drop them in the comments and let us
Yeah.
know what we should be listening to, what you guys are listening to, any random ones out there that we deserve to know about. Do let us know, and we can bring them up and share them next week on the pod. And I think that is probably it. I finished my gin a long time ago, and I might just go and get myself another one.
I'm gonna have cheese and Corona and be happy.
Love it, love it,
That's my
love
plan.
it. Okay. All right, good night, everybody. Thanks, Emil.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye. Bye. Bye.